According to the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, prediction for 2023 suggests normal rainfall, though earlier than the long-term average in most parts of the country to be witnessed, and this has already commenced. It also stated that strong windstorms across the country and sandstorms in the extreme northern states can occur before the onset of rainfall that also has been witnessed. Now, speaking on the likelihood of flooding, the Director General of NIMET, Professor Mansour Matazo, said flooding is a natural event, but because of the increase in climate change activities, there will be more floods this year. So the increased temperature means the atmosphere will be more pregnant to contain more water in the form of water vapor, and that will amount to more rain with high intensity. For short durations, that being the case, the expected rains for 2023 is to run for almost 84 to 280 days across the country, while Abuja and its environs is to run for 170 to 230 days. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency says the 2023 rainy season has commenced, and once, but the season will be accompanied by thunderstorms and severe weather conditions, which is a concern to the aviation sector especially. To this end, the program, Nigeria Today, has two professionals in the field to discuss what the rains has for 2023 as a stitch in time saves nine. I am Vicaria Clinton. Welcome to the program. With me in the studio is James Adamu Ijampi, Chief Meteorologist, Special Advisor to the Director General of Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good evening.
And also on set with me is Chimere May Ohajinwa, Lead Consultant, C-Circle Research. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you, ma'am. I will start with you, Ijampi. The agency, NIMET, warned pilot and the general public to be wary of thunderstorms and other severe weather conditions. And of course, the aviation minister also re-emphasized this, you know, in line with the SCP, which is the seasonal climate predictions. Now, tell us more about these predictions and the warnings.
Okay, thank you. As you clearly stated, the Honorable Minister of Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, during the public presentation, gave a breakdown of the 2023 seasonal climate prediction, in which he clearly stated that the onset will be early in most parts of the country. We'll have a normal rainfall amount. End of season will be normal, and the length of season will be normal. And to lay emphasis on this, the DG NIMET, Professor Mansour Bako Matazu, whose vision is to make sure that early warning gets to every Nigerian, despite no matter his location, made it clear, especially the aviation sector, that the onset is associated with its own characteristics like turbulence, and because of the temperature regime now, you notice that we have some high temperature, so you'll find that you'll be having a clear air turbulence, and when the onset comes with its own storms, and you have this turbulence. Those of us that have flown recently towards the southern part of the country, you find that pilots announcing that there will be some turbulence. However, there's nothing to worry about. And in some cases, if these turbulence are severe, it may lead to injury. But so far, because the agency keeps giving this information every 15 minutes in all of our aerodromes, that's the airports, and we have a pilot briefing room where the pilots are briefed on the en route weather, and so the information gets to them on time. And the warning is clear that those in the aviation sector should take advantage of the state-of-the-art pilot briefing room to go and get the en route weather to all their locations. This will minimize the effect of this turbulence.
Okay, Chiber, we've been told that the rains will be quite early
and of course, you know, the coastal areas blocked by Bayelsa rivers, and of course, another parts of the country before definitely it will get to other parts of the country. And we know, just like we had last year, it has some health implication. I understand you're also a health expert.
Environmental health specialist.
Yes, environmental health specialist. You know. So, what should people or Nigerians be doing to ensure safety, and of course ensure that they are also safe, they are also healthy within this period?
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. I think what the NIMET is doing now is very important. The early warning signs, that people are beginning to know that, okay, the warnings are there, so you already know these are things we should do and these are things we shouldn't do. People are, because of the effect last year, which was flooding, which was very, very devastating, a lot of people are now aware about the reason why you have to take care of this environment, the reason why we need to be careful. We can't take NIMET for granted anymore. So when they give you early warning signs, it helps you to know when to plant your seeds, when to harvest, because these are the information they give you. It helps in farming. In fact, the farmers need the information more. So you know where to take, when to plant your seeds, when to harvest, where to take them. So you already know. So if you look at the release by the minister, he was saying there's going to be early rain in some part, not every part. So if you're living in those areas, you know. So if you're a businessman and you have farms everywhere, you already know, okay, I can start planting here, then I can move to this other side next time, and I can harvest this place. So those information that you think is not important, people know that it's very important, that they look out for those information. So for safety, these are, you're not taking it for granted anymore. And so when you talk about safety, you're talking about safety in very broad sense, even food security. So it can help you to plan when to harvest, stock, you know, for next time. People are beginning to make those plans. This is not the time when you plant and then it can decay. No. There's no more food wastage now. It helps you to plan, even in food security. Yeah.
Okay, James, we as much it is mentioned that it also helps and for us to plan ahead. Now, we are already seeing the rains coming, hailstones, and recently we saw, you know, some kind of pounding on on the roof of the houses. Now, I understand that beyond prediction, the NIMET is already putting some measures in some airports. So tell us about this, and what are these things that you are doing in airport, and of course beyond the airports, to, you know, ensure that we don't have disasters that will just take us unawares.
Okay, for the aviation sector, I know the DG, in his wisdom, had ensured that most of the aerodrome, with the support of the minister, he has installed, or the agency has installed, the low-level wind shear alert system, which is critical for most airports, and this will help in informing the most key players in the sectors about low-level wind shear, which is very disastrous when it comes to aviation safety. So with that alert system, I think and that is why we've recently found out that most of our airspace is safe, and other state-of-the-art equipment, and with the training and retraining of the aviation meteorologists, and giving the early warning and the pilot briefing room. So within the aviation sector, I think the management of the agency, with the support of the minister, have done really well in terms of aviation safety. And just to digress to what she said in terms of the onset for food security, so far we've covered the Niger Delta because it's raining seasons to start there. So we've downscaled to local government level within the Niger Delta and some part of the southwest and the southeast. And so we will now, I think by this week, we will start the north central as the rain progresses. Now, taking this information to the grassroots, making sure that our rural, we do the aviation sector very well, and we take care of our rural community in terms of food security, providing this information so that it will add value to the whole economy.
Okay, Chimere, you know, these are natural occurrences that we cannot control. It happens, and as much as we would want to, stop them, it is really not so possible to stop them. However, we can manage them. So how can we manage these occurrences to, avoid will I say, avoid unnecessary disasters?
Oh yeah, I think climate change is a word you cannot afford to forget, and there are ways you can adapt. One way to adapt is you get the warning signs, you move away from the floodplains, you move to places that to safety. So you cannot say you don't know anymore. There's a lot of technology that has made information earlier available to us. Before you can say, oh, flood came and carried. No, most of the time people already know now. If you take to instructions of the government to say there is going to be rain here, there's going to be flooding, you need to move away. People listen and they will move away. So you are adapting to that, but there are a lot of things government is also doing in terms of climate change. There's a lot of education on climate change. There's a lot of, we have a policy, we have a bill, President Buhari signed last year. So we have a bill to that. That was 2021, we signed a bill to that. We have National Council on Climate Change is coming up. So there are instances where people are being educated, what we should do, what we shouldn't do, what caused the flooding in the last time, how is the drainage system, how do we manage our drainage system, how do you manage your waste, so you produce your waste, you just block the drainages and then you turn around and say there's flooding. Really? So what are the plans? If there is no proper urban planning, why won't there be problem? So that means some people build their houses on the floodplains where they're not supposed to. Even in this Abuja, people build houses on floodplains. I mean, highbrow areas. And then 10 years down the line, there's a disaster, and then we say, oh, there is... Why? I don't understand how God is going to come into that matter. So a lot of these issues are man-made, which can be, mitigated. So we can look at mitigation, we can look at the adaptation, what are the things we can do. This early warning sign is a very good one. So we can look at people living at the floodplains, you can move them away. Things that you're supposed to stop, like our proper waste management, don't block the drainages, don't build on the floodplains. These are the small things we can do to curtail this climate change issue. But the climate change education is really doing well.
Okay. Now, last year, the DG and NIMET has said the agency has recorded 95% of accurate prediction. That was last year. Now, how proactive has stakeholders been, in responding to these predictions?
Okay, for stakeholders, particularly we have a good relationship with NEMA, National Emergency Management Authority, where we, after the prediction just last week, yes, they looked at the NIMET prediction and the prediction from NISA, our sister agency, and they now look at bringing out the vulnerable area, the risk area in the country, so that they can deploy resources to those key areas. And also the state emergency, particularly that of the FCT, that's the FEMA in FCT, we have a close collaboration with them. And with that, that is why you see last year, despite the flood across the country, the impact, unlike previous years in Abuja, we find that NEMA were able to remove those structures on waterways, those key areas where we normally have incidences. You notice last year, despite the flood, the impact was a bit minimal within the FCT. And we have such collaboration with the Lagos State Environmental Ministry of Environment and Drainage, I think, and they were able to sensitize the people, and you find out those areas there. And some states, they collaborate with us directly, and the SEMAs and NEMAs are doing well. And the development partners, I won't leave them out, in terms of sensitization, community enlightenment, and in terms of, as you said, moving people from the floodplain to highland. It's ongoing, but our people, this traditional attachment to land, but with constant sensitization and education within our local communities, I'm sure we will get there. And also, NIMET on his own part, apart from the seasonal climate prediction, we have short-range forecasts, like we have the monthly forecast, the 10-day forecast, the high-impact weather forecast, and this we have it on app now for those that have Android. And I know the gap is still those in the rural areas. That's why we work with, we are appreciative to all the media, both electronic and print media, that helps to take this information to the grassroots.
Okay, Chibere, as much as we talk about flooding, I want to, move away a little bit from the prediction and talk about flooding. As much as we talk about flooding, as much as people look at it from the negative aspect, there are still some, we can also use it to our own advantage because we need water. Okay, so how can we use these, like somebody was mentioned, he said flooding is just when we have too much water. So how can we use this volume of water to our advantage? We need water for farming. We need it for even generation of energy.
Yeah.
So how can we use it to our advantage?
Yeah, like I can say that in Nigeria, we don't really have so much of those extreme weather, so much. So it's more of management for our own issues. It's usually more of management. So you can use the force of the flow to generate an electricity as well. But our own issues are even the very basic things. Like, please, can we just collect the water and then think of what to do with it instead of devastation? Because we have rains there are places where it doesn't even rain for years. We have rains. But our problem is just managing whatever we have. That it became too much. What led to it being too much? We need to start investing in research to find out what are issues and how can we stop it. Because it's really devastating that you have the same problem every year, and then we come on TV and we say we condemn it, we bring them to book, and then the book never get printed. So yes, we can convert that to, like I said, you can convert it to electricity, you can collect them and use it for other things. For now, our major issues is how do you even prevent it from even happening? Because if you look at the volume of rain we receive, are we supposed to have that level of devastation in the first place? If we had proper plan, town planning, urban planning, we're not supposed to have that level of devastation in the first place, because compare that with the volume of water we received, compared to other countries that receive similar, and then you're having that in places that are not even inside water, for God's sake.
Okay, James, you just mentioned about how the waters we have was not that much, but we had a lot of the devastation was much. So what could we have done differently?
Well, let me state that we had some extreme rainfall last year, where places in the extreme northern part of the country or northern states got over 200% of their annual rainfall. An example, it states that the annual rainfall is 500 millimeter, got like 1,500 or 2,000 millimeter. And the soil there differs, so you have this runoff here and there. Then we have most of our rivers, they've been silted. We need to desilt our river because the depth, it has been filled up, is now some water accumulation. It goes beyond the banks and it flows to community. So we need to desilt our distance. Then the use of residual moisture. After the flood, what do you do? In some states, you find out that after the flood, they still use this residual moisture for agricultural production. So we can also talk about water harvesting, as you said, and putting them into use, even community water harvesting, because there are some areas they just have rainfall for just 3-4 months, and in the remaining 9 months or 8 months they don't have rain. So if you can harvest this water and use it for agricultural purposes, it's real good. And we can also use this water from this rainfall, if we harness them properly for hydroelectricity, as you said, which is a clean form of energy. I think that's the way to go.
Chimere, with the predictions, and of course you talked about what, you talked about the electricity, but going forward, what do you think that government should do, to mitigate the effect of these kinds of flooding, going forward? What do you think they should do?
Okay, like I mentioned before, we should have proper planning, make sure that our waste management is good, not that you use the waste to block the drainages. Also, you see what parks and recreation are doing. Yeah. So you find that in places you're not supposed to like build and then cement everywhere, so that the water is not percolating. So because it's not percolating, there's too much runoff to other sides compared to places where you have laws that you must have so number of this percentage of place in your compound not cemented, so that way the water can percolate. You know, not that you just push it and then it goes everywhere. Meanwhile, this other place is so dry, and another place they are suffering because you are not distributing it properly. So these are the things, these are like low-hanging fruits. You're getting they have the proper planning, the drainages, there's waste management is good. You have those laws because waste parks and recreation are coming up with it. You must have so number of trees in your compound. You must have so number of percentage that is not cemented. Therefore, because these are small ways we can adapt to the climate change that is coming. We are wondering what are we supposed to do. So that way you can collect it. You can collect the water. Then you can think of what to do with the water. Because there are places where it doesn't rain, and they are looking forward to this rain, and they will do plenty things with this rain. This same rain that we are complaining about. Instead of always playing victim.
Yeah. Some persons are even praying for the rains. Some countries are praying for the rains.
Yes. Yeah.
And we are blessed to have it in abundance, right? So James, I know she mentioned about laws. I know we have instant laws that prevent people from building on waterways and all that. What do you say about these laws and the implementation of those laws? Because if they are being implemented, we won't be having some of these issues.
Well, in terms of law that governs building and establishment of properties, these laws are there, but you find out that it's individuals that either even with connivance with some people, you tend to circumvent these laws just to get your own structures and things like that. To the
detriment of
yes, but now governments are beginning to. I told you about FEMA now, and in the FCT, I know for you to even build up a structure now, they are becoming taking these things very serious. And most states in the country, I remember after the flood last year, the Kano state government went to remove some structures within the waterways that and Kaduna too. I think they've done a lot of things in terms of clearing. So states are beginning to implement these laws. I know these laws are at different level: the federal law, the state law, and the local government. So, but when they see the devastation within their communities, they're beginning to rise up to the occasion, making sure that people don't build on waterway, opening up of the drainage, and to go a step further, probably in the design. As you say, Urban, you should look at, you may get information from NIMET in terms of recall period. When you have a recall period, you design based on the weather pattern of that area. Because we just left the issue of NIMET to just maybe aviation forecast, but it goes beyond that. The data you get from NIMET can help you for even town planning. Because when you know the return period, the amount of rainfall you get, the return period in terms of flood, the wind and things like that, you design the structure in such a way that not that the rains will come, they may be heavy, yeah, but how long does it take for the rain to recede, the water to recede? We've seen what is happening in California, but they can calculate and tell you in 8 hours this water is going to, yeah. So those are the kind of things that NIMET can offer. It goes beyond just weather prediction. Yeah. We have data, we can sit down and I mean, engineers, architects, and the rest. In terms of structures, other countries, you find out they have serious devastation, the natural disaster, earthquake, and the rest. But you see the buildings still standing in some areas. So we need to come look at the data available in NIMET in terms of our designs.
Okay, yeah. and lastly, just before we go, what message would you have for Nigerians? Because as much as possible, some of these disasters have taken lives, taken property, lost a lot. So what message would you have for Nigerians with this predictions?
Like you said, when it comes to the laws, I've always been an advocate of let's put policies and laws that can work for us. Let's not do copy and paste. So we'll copy, make sure that there's a place to paste it so that it will work for us. That's what I was saying. So we can review our policies, review our laws, make sure that how can it work for us so that it doesn't look too abstract and being so beautiful on paper but so difficult to implement.
Thank you very much. It's been wonderful speaking to you. And that's it on Nigeria today. But before we go, we want to thank our guest, James Adamu Ijampi, Chief Meteorologist and Special Advisor to the Director General of Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET. Thank you very much for your contributions.
Thank you, and be weather smart.
Thank you, I remember that. And also Chimere May Ohajinwa, Lead Consultant, Seed Circle Research. Thank you very much for your insight.
and Nigerian Society for Environment.
Okay,
Environmental Society.
All right.
Yeah.
And to you, our viewer, thank you for always being there. Don't forget Nigeria Today air weekdays at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can watch this and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I'm your carrier, Clinton, once again. Thank you for watching.